January 13th of 2013 at about 3 p.m., East Lampeter Township Police Department commenced an investigation into an infant abuse, which turned out to be an infant death, with the victim being Nazareth LaSanta, age 4 months. This call emanated at 462 Brendan Drive, which is in Upper Laycock Township in Leola. On January 16th of 2013, our department was advised that by Hershey medical staff that the child was declared brain dead and subsequently died. On January 17th of 2013, Dr. Wayne Ross, the pathologist, performed an autopsy and indicated that the manner of death was a homicide. Subsequent investigation by the detectives of our department led to the interview of the gentleman that was charged, Jesus Manuel LaSanta of 462 Brendan Drive. On January 23rd of 2013, Mr. LaSanta was charged with criminal homicide and also endangering the welfare of a child. And at this point, that's kind of an overview of everything. If you had any questions, either myself or the district attorney could try and answer those for you.
And looking at the affidavit, he said the injuries occurred while he was trying to do CPRs. What I seem to glean from that, is that in any way plausible?
Well, I mean, if I could, sure. I'll just make a couple comments, then we'll open up for questions for you. Just the one thing I always have to preface when we have these conferences is that he is presumed innocent, that these are just charges at this point in time. Obviously, extremely sad news for us to be here yet again on another infant homicide. It's becoming all too common. It's discouraging, and obviously it's criminal, and there will be consequences. We'll follow up, but just want to. These are all completely within the control of the custodial parent. I mean, they're just absolutely inexcusable for this type of action. I mean, the ultimate consequences, the ultimate price for the most innocent victims out there. These are difficult cases for the police to investigate. I want to commend the East Lampeter Police Department and Detective Gensler and Edgel for the work they did. It is not always that easy to get people to communicate the events of such as this, which people are obviously taking criminal responsibility to different extents, and to do it so many days afterwards is a testament to their dedication, their work. I also would be remiss in not mentioning a debt of gratitude to our medical professionals who worked on this, both in the coroner's office and Dr. Diaz, who is a foremost expert in the field. There's no obvious trauma, external trauma to the child in many of these cases, and we rely on their expertise to tell us exactly what caused death. So what has matched up from what they're telling us is exactly basically what the police end up uncovering, the type of injuries and the type of trauma, which is all internal, and of course the victim is incapable of speaking for himself, and age, and obviously due to the injuries. So these are terrible tragedies. These are awful cases, and if you actually sit there and think about it, you just get you have your own emotions, but we have a job to do, and we'll make sure that we follow up with all this. It is ongoing. We would ask that anybody has any information to communicate with the East Lampeter Police Department's Detective Gensler's case. They've still got a lot of work to do. There's still some things to be done. It's not over. This is really just the beginning, and we've got to make sure that he's held accountable for what he's chosen to do in the court of law. So I think with that, I don't know whether I mentioned it, but I do want to mention it if I didn't. And again, the reason is that we've had so many of these. Randy Miller, again, I'm going to just go out of my way to commend the work he does. He's a prosecutor in his office. He handles from the ground up these most terrible cases, the homicides and suspicious deaths of the youngest and most innocent in our county. And he couldn't be here this morning. He's got another assignment, but he works very closely with the police department, and I owe him a debt of gratitude as well. So your question was the CPR. No, that would not be consistent with with injuries. That's not what caused it here. That's not what he's telling the police, and that's not consistent with the medical professionals.
What were the circumstances? It said in there that he admitted to rapidly pulling the child out of the bouncy seat and violently placing the child on a mattress. What was going on there?
The way it's been described is there was a dispute in the home at that point in time.
So angry at someone else and taking it out on the child?
Again, I would say, regardless of what's going on, what is the excuse for doing this to a infant, a 4-month-old? Tell me what's more important than preserving the life of your own child, and you've got the duty to provide safety. And if you're so angry that you can't control yourself, you're going to potentially hurt your child. You got to walk away at that point in time. And there are so many any other alternative but this. It doesn't lead to us here today, and you have somebody's a life not taken. So.